Hey everyone, it's Jeremy Hamilton with 5280 Angler with a fishing report. I know it's been a while, but things have been busy. I've been on vacation, and fishing's been pretty good. So anyway, I'll start out with Deckers. It's fishing really good right now. Brown trout are spawning. Rainbows are eating the eggs behind them. Even the brown trout are eating eggs. So the rigs we've been using, worms, pretty much always worms. Eggs, I like to use a little apricot egg, about 5 millimeters or so. Nuclear eggs work well also, pretty much any egg of your choice. And then black midges, RS2s, Rainbow Warriors, stuff like that. Pheasant tails, Jujubatus. Pretty much anything small right now. We're using light tippet, 5X right now. That's light for us. We do typically use heavier tippet than a lot of people do, and you can get away with it. The fish definitely aren't too shy of it, but definitely stay away from fish on reds. They're spawning beds. Want to leave those alone. You can certainly fish to the fish that are feeding behind them. Just watch out for the fish that are paired up on the reds, and definitely don't walk through that either. As far as the dream stream goes, it's been an absolute zoo, but the fishing is really good. We've got a great run of kokanee salmon this year, so there's still, even at the end of October now, there's still a lot of kokanee in the system, and there's a lot of brown trout as well. Not huge runs of browns, but they're definitely in here. But really, you want to watch out for the spawning fish. It seems like the runs have been kind of dwindling the last few years, so I really want to emphasize that we should leave those fish alone. The way we've been fishing it, well, let me start out with the rig first. I've been using worms, either a chocolate worm or a red worm. The chocolate worm is working better on trout. We're also catching a lot of cut bows and rainbows and such. They're all feeding on their typical stuff. So the chocolate worm is working well for the trout. Red worm is working great for kokanee or pink even. Then a dark green, like a forest green copper john, and like a size 16, 18, even a 20 works really well on the trout and the kokanee. Eggs, pink or orange, covering both the salmon and the trout, the brown trout. Orange, apricot, whatever color, even peach would work fine. And then I'm also using red Rainbow Warriors. Those are working really well, again, for both the kokanee and the trout. That's the rig I've been running pretty consistently, and I haven't really had to switch up very much. There are fish feeding on dry flies in the afternoon, getting good numbers of blue-wing olives hatching. I like to use just a good old parachute Adams or a parachute blue-winged olive. You can certainly use a Compara Dun or Sparkle Dun or whatever blue-winged olive imitation you like to use has been working really well. But what I really want to talk about with the Dream Stream right now is more, like I said with Deckers, leave these fish alone. Don't fish to the spawning brown trout. But the way we've been covering this water is by fishing the deep runs. There are lots of fish in the deep runs. Kokanee, that's where they're going to be. They will be on spawning beds as well, and that's not as much an issue because they're not going to really be affected by it. They can't naturally spawn in the river anyway. Most kokanee in this state are stocked by Parks and Wildlife, so it's not a huge deal. But we still should leave those alone anyway, because that's where trout are spawning as well. So really stay away from those fish. We've been fishing the deep slots. That's where kokanee are. That's where a lot of the bigger trout are going to be. It's amazing how many fish you can find in a deep run, a deep slot, the bend holes, all that. The deep water holds a lot of fish, and you can really kind of fish that for quite a while. It's not a game where you have to make a cast at a couple fish and then move on and walk the whole length of the river. You can find a couple couple deep runs and fish them for quite a while and get a lot of fish out of there. That also reduces some of the crowding. Crowding has been kind of crazy out here, so it's really kind of good to be mindful of that. Be respectful of everyone. Don't fight. It's every year it's the same thing. You know, people getting pissed off about people fishing on reds, fishing too close to you. I had some guys the other day. I got out fishing for myself for a little bit, and I had people above and below me, probably 30 feet away. I could have roll casted on top of either of them, but it's not really worth fighting over. So I just, fished for a couple minutes and then moved on and went and found some other fish. So I recommend that you do the same. Don't get pissed off at anyone. It's not worth it. It's just fish. It's not the end of the world. But there are lots of fish in the system right now. If you're willing to fish in those deep runs. Not as much sight fishing, of course. So everyone does like the sight fishing, but you're certainly hooking up lots of numbers, and we're getting a good mixed bag with that. Lots of kokanee, like I said. Big brown trout will be in there, but man, I'm finding a lot of nice cut bows, rainbows. Up to 20 inches, even bigger. And even down to the 12 inchers, we're finding a lot of those. So. And everywhere else is fishing great too. Brown trout are just spawning right now. It should be winding down here pretty soon. We are at the end of October, so they're finishing up probably early part of November, and then we'll get into the winter fishing. And once we get to the winter fishing, I'll do another report. One last thing, Boxwood Gulch. It's been closed for a little while due to the Roberts Tunnel being shut down for repairs. Boxwood is set to open November 10th. So if you're interested in going to Boxwood, we are running a winter deal out there. Check our website for the rates or give a call. You can find our contact information on the website. And fishing at Boxwood is great in the wintertime. Pueblo Reservoir, below Pueblo, we can guide that as well. That is a fantastic wintertime fishery. So start thinking about that and book your trips with us. Do some winter fishing. It can be great. As always, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, our website, 5280angler.com, or you can follow me, Jeremy Hamilton Fly Fishing, on Instagram. I'll see you on the river.